What up? It's your boy Jay Reason back again with another video, and we're gonna get into your Week 3 NFL odds predictions, games coming up. Before we get started, guys, make sure that you smash that like, that thumbs up button down below, and of course, if you are new here, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll be updated with news, information, sports-related streams as well. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into it. Your first game for the week. Week 3 is going to be Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns. That's going to be your Thursday night football. It's going to start the actual Week 3 NFL games. Games will start at 8:15. I will, of course, be streaming this game as well, so make sure that you lock it in. Make sure that you do subscribe. We're going to hop into the matchup predictor. It's going to start off with 45.9% for the Steelers. And then, of course, 53.5% for the Browns. Your season leaders, Mitch Trubisky, not much of a season leader, to be honest, but 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 362 yards. Jacoby Brissett, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 376 yards. Najee Harris, 25 carries, 72 yards. Nick Chubb, 228 yards, 3 touchdowns. The man is balling. Nick Chubb, the man is balling. Johnson, 112 yards. Cooper, 118 yards, 1 touchdown for the receiving. As far as the injury report, no injuries as of yet. No information for the Steelers. For the Browns, Chris Hubbard, questionable. Jesse James, IR. Chase Winovich, IR. Harris Bryant, questionable, and Myles Garrett, questionable as well. As far as the current consensus for the odds and the spread, today is, of course, Wednesday. The time is 1:44 p.m. As of right now, current spread is plus 4.5 for the Steelers, minus 4.5 for the Browns. Browns are 4.5 favorites. Money line minus 210 for the Browns, plus 175 for the Steelers. Your over and under is 38.5. Coming over to team stats, points per game is going to be 18.5 for the Steelers, 28 for the Browns. Points allowed per game, 18.5, 27.5. I don't know if that's accurate. It's kind of a weird number, but whatever. Total yards, 264 for the Steelers, 181 passing, 83 rushing. 388 for the Browns, 188 passing, 200 rushing. So as far as my prediction, I really think that the Steelers need to put Kenny Pickett in. I'm sure there's going to be people that agree with me on this. There's going to be a lot of people that agree with me on this. We need to see Kenny Pickett in. They need to put him in. I want to see the Steelers do that, change up on the offense, and I think it's going to help them. If they don't, without a doubt, I think the Browns are going to take this. I'm going Cleveland on this one as far as for my prediction if they don't put Kenny in. I don't think Trubisky is going to be the one to do it for the Steelers, and that's just my honest opinion. So score-wise, I'm going to say 21-7 Cleveland Browns on this one, unless they put Kenny in, give the kid a shot. So 21-7, Cleveland takes this one against the Steelers. All right, so next up, we're going to have Houston Texans, Chicago Bears. All right, now this game is going to be on Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. Got a matchup predictor here of 45% for the Texans, 54% for the Bears, Chicago Bears. Davis Mills, 417 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's been a sleeper. Everyone slept on him. He's throwing that ball. Justin Fields, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Pierce, 102 rushing yards. Montgomery, 148 rushing yards. Cooks, 136 receiving yards. St. Brown, 57 yards, 1 touchdown. As far as the injury report goes, we got Brevin Jordan, questionable. Kevin Pierre-Louis, injury reserve. Justin Britt is out. For the Bears, we got Dane Cruikshank, questionable. Velvis Jones, questionable. And then as far as for the current odds, Bears are a 2.5 favorite, minus 145 on the money line, plus 122 on the money line. For the Texans, 2.5 for the Texans, plus 2.5 on the spread for the Texans. Over and under is going to be 40 points for your over and under. Points per game, 14.5 for both teams. Points allowed is 18 for the Texans, 18.5 for the Bears. Total yards, 287 versus 235. Passing yards, 208, 95.5 for the Bears. Rushing yards, 78 for the Texans, 139 for the Bears. So it looks like the Bears are basically going to put up more in the running game. But for the passing game, Davis Mills, man, he's moving that ball, and he's going to get those yards for the Texans. So everyone's saying a 2.5 favorite for the Bears. I don't see that happening. I actually see the Texans taking this one. I see the Texans taking this one possibly by 2 touchdowns or more. Fields just doesn't look hot to me. He doesn't look like he's gonna pull this thing off. Considering against what they did against the considering what happened against the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, he's writing that check, man. He's cashing it in, and he still owns the Bears. But I don't see them bouncing back against the Texans. I think Davis Mills shows up. They take this one. I'm calling for another 2-touchdown game, at least for the Texans. I'm going to get my prediction score something light. I'm going to say 14-3. 14-3 Texans. I don't think the Bears are going to do much. Could be wrong, obviously, but I think the Texans win the game without a doubt. All right. Next up on our list here, it's going to be Kansas City, Indianapolis. Matchup predictor, 59% for Kansas City. Now, let me just fix this here. 1 second. There we go. All right. Bring this down. All right. So matchup predictor is going to be 59.1%, 40.4% for the Colts. Pat Mahomes, another stellar year, another elite year for him. 595 yards, 7 touchdowns. Matt Ryan, 547 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. Edwards-Helaire, 116 yards rushing. Taylor, 215 yards, 1 touchdown. Kelsey, 172 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. Doolin, 125 yards on the receiving. Injury report, we've got Willie Gay, suspension. On a suspension. Harrison Butker is questionable. Shaquille Leonard is questionable. Michael Pittman Jr. questionable. And Alec Pierce, all questionable for the Colts. Your spread, 6.5 favorites for the Kansas City Chiefs. Plus 6.5 for the Colts. Minus 285 on the money line. Plus 228. And then the over and under is going to be 50. This is going to be a clear victory for Kansas City. Kansas City is on another run. So, without a doubt, it's not to discredit the Colts as the as an NFL team, but Chiefs and Mahomes, they're doing what they're doing, and it says it right here. They're getting 35.5 points at this point. They're averaging. Colts 10 points allowed, 22. Same thing for the almost same thing for the Colts. Yards 408, 389, 297 passing, 273. Yards rushing 110.5, 115.5. So, with that said, I think it's going to be a clear blowout. I think Kansas City may end up somewhere in the 30s in this game. I'd be surprised if the Colts put up more than 2 at this point for this game. So with that said, guys, I'm taking the Chiefs in this. I'm going to take the Chiefs in this, without a doubt. Chiefs are taking this one. All right. Next is going to be my game of the week. My game, the game that I'm looking forward to the most. These Buffalo Bills and these Miami Dolphins. They're gonna head down to Miami and show out. Bills Mafia is gonna show out down in Miami. Matchup predictor is gonna be 60.7 for the Bills, 38.8% for Miami. Josh Allen, 614 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Tua Tagovailoa, 739 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Singletary, 67 rushing yards. Mustard, 67 rushing yards. Stephon Diggs, 270 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, 284 yards, 2 touchdowns. Injury report, Gabe Davis, questionable. Ed Oliver, questionable. Tim Settle, questionable. Dane Jackson, questionable. He actually went out by ambulance, but they said that he's should be feeling much better after what happened. They said that he can, he's moving around. He didn't need any kind of surgery, so he should be able to bounce back, and we're all glad to hear that. Bobby Hart is on a suspension for the Titans incident. Miami Dolphins, Hunter Long is questionable. Channing Tindall is questionable. Cedric Wilson's questionable. Cethan Carter is questionable. And as far as the odds go, -6 on the spread for the Bills, 6-point favorites. +6 for the Dolphins. -250 on the money line for the Bills. +205 for the Dolphins. Over and under is 52. Points per game, 36 for the Bills, 31 for the Dolphins. Points allowed, 8.5 versus 22.5. So as you see there, clear difference in the defense. 418 yards, 445 yards, 307 passing, 369 passing yards, rushing 111 versus 75.5. Bills are taking this in a clear victory. Let's not hype Tua up too much. All right, we've seen what he did against the Ravens. That Ravens defense went to sleep. I do not see that happening with the Bills. All right, I do not see that happening with the Bills. I'm not discrediting Tua as being a good quarterback. He had an amazing game. He showed up. He showed some grit. He showed some heart. But this Bills defense is built different. All right, Bills defense is built different. This offense is going to show up. This defense is going to show up. Bills are going to score at least 30 points. Miami, to compete, you got to do the same. It may be a close game, but Bills are going to take this one. I'm taking Bills by 7. Bills by 7. All right. Next up, it's going to be your Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings. Matchup predictors, 33.9%, 65.7% for the Vikings. Jared Goff, 471 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. Cousins, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 498 yards. Swift, 200 yards, 1 touchdown. Cook, 107 yards. Receiving, St. Brown, 180 yards, 3 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns. Injuries, Jonah Jackson for the Lions. Ifitu Milinfanu, questionable. Amani Orenwari, questionable. And Frank Ragnow, questionable. For the Vikings, Harrison Smith is questionable. Andrew Booth Jr., V.C. Johnson, injured reserve for the Vikings. As far as the odds go, Vikings are a 6-point favorite, -250 on the money line, +6 on the spread, +205 on the money line for the Lions. Over and under is 52.5. Points per game, 35 for the Lions, 15 for the Vikings. 32.5 for the Lions, 15 for the Vikings again. 421.5 yards for the Lions, 343. Passing yards, 235. Rushing, 186 for the Lions. 249 for the Vikings, and 94 rushing for the Vikings. I feel like this is going to be a close game. And for 2 reasons. I think people are sleeping on the Lions. And, right now, the Vikings, after that first game, I just don't see him as, basically going to be put up the same numbers that they did. They came out hot, but it looks like they're starting to fizzle out. See this being another close one. Interesting enough, I'm going to call the Lions by 3. I may be the only one that says this, considering the matchup predictor. But I'm thinking Lions by 3. They may upset. They may upset. So Lions by 3 in that one. All right, keeping it going. Next up, it's going to be Baltimore Ravens and your New England Patriots. Matchup predictors, 56.9%, 42.6%. Lamar Jackson, 531 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. Mac Jones, 465 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Rushing yards, Lamar Jackson, 136 yards, 1 touchdown. Harris, 119 yards, 1 touchdown. Receiving, Rashad Bateman has 167 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jacoby Myers, 150 yards. As far as the injury report, you got J.K. Dobbins, questionable. Travis Jones, questionable. James Proch, second, questionable. Brandon Stevens, questionable. Ronnie Stanley, questionable. Patriots, Kyle Duggar and Joshua Bledsoe, questionable. As far as your odds go, Ravens are a 3-point favorite, minus 160 on the money line, plus 3 for the Patriots, plus 135 on the money line, over and under 43.5. As far as the points per game, 31 for the Ravens, 12 for the Patriots. Points allowed, 25.5, 17 for the Patriots. Total yards, 374, 265 passing, 109 rushing for the Ravens. 335 yards for the Patriots, 232 passing, and 101 on the rushing. For this game, another close one. After that ridiculous show that the defense just completely dropped the ball against Miami, I feel like New England is going to take one on the Ravens. And I would say this for 2 reasons. Bill Belichick is looking to really get things in gear after that ridiculous showing that they had down there in Pittsburgh with the Steelers. And I feel like that game should have been way higher as far as the amount of points for New England, specifically for 2 reasons. Mitch Trubisky just isn't it. He wasn't doing anything. Fortunately, that defense for the Steelers showed up and held, New England to 3. But at this point, I don't see the Ravens, having enough to stop New England coming in there and doing what they're supposed to do. And I feel like Bill Belichick is going to have something for all that Lamar running and shut that down. So with that said, I've got New England here. I'm going to say New England by a touchdown. New England by a touchdown in this game. And, they're going to get Baltimore a run for their money. All right. Next up, we're going to have Cincinnati Bengals and your New York Jets. Jets. All right, so this is another one that's going to be a bounce-back game. Burrow's been having a tough time. He's been having a tough time. Sacks, hurries, can't deal with the blitz, not looking down the field. I really think that this is going to be his bounce-back game. I think he's going to put up some solid numbers. He's gonna get his mojo back. He needs to, and I think this is the game. I don't think they're gonna go 0-3 against the Jets. I think they're gonna go in there. They're gonna steamroll them. Jamar Chase is gonna get a bunch of touches, and they're gonna run this up. Got Burrow with 537 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Joe Flacco, 616 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. Mixon, 130 yards rushing. Carter, 83 yards rushing. Chase, 183 yards receiving, 1 touchdown. Davis, 160 yards, 1 touchdown on the receiving side. Cincinnati Bengals injury report. Devin Azizi is questionable. Drew Sample is out. For the Jets, you've got Quinnen Williams, Zach Wilson, CJ Uzuma, John Franklin Myers, questionable and out. And as far as the spread, got the Bengals 5-point favorite, minus 225 on the money line, +5 for the Jets, +185 on the money line, and 45 is your over and under. Points allowed per game is 18 for the Bengals. Points allowed is 21.5. Jets are putting up 20 and allowing 27. Total yards 379 for the Bengals. 268 passing, 111 rushing, 316 passing, and 88 rushing. I think this is going to be a clear victory for the Bengals, and they're going to take this by a touchdown. Don't sleep on Joey Flacco. He's gonna have a game without a doubt. He's been doing well with these Jets, but Bengals are gonna take this one, and they'll be 1-3 when it's all said and done. I'm sorry, 1-2. Apologize, 1-2 when it's all said and done. All right, next up is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders. What a game Jalen has had against those Vikings. He was balling out there. I definitely see him continuing that run. Matchup predictor is 60.4%, 39.1. 39.1 for the Commanders. Hurts, 576 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Wentz, 650 yards, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Sanders with 176 yards, 1 touchdown rushing. Gibson, 86 yards, 1 touchdown rushing. Brown, 224 yards receiving. Samuel, 133 yards, 2 touchdowns. Philadelphia Eagles, no injuries to report. For the Commanders, we got Chase Rulier on IR. Sadiq Charles, questionable. Cole Holcomb, questionable. Trey Turner, questionable. Shaka Tooney, questionable. -6.5 on the spread. Eagles are favorites. -292 on the money line. +65. Sorry, +6.5 for the Commanders. Money line, +235. Over and under is 47. Points per game, 31 for your Eagles, 27 for the Commanders. Points allowed, 21 for the Eagles, 29 for the Commanders. Two-score game. It's going to be a two-score game for the Eagles. We'll take this by 2 touchdowns. Calling the score somewhere in the 30s. I think Commanders will put up one TD, but going to be a clear victory for the Eagles. All right, next. New Orleans, Carolina. And you got the Saints predicted at 49.9% versus 49.4%. Very close, very close. Jameis Winston, 505 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Baker Mayfield, 380 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Taysom Hill, 95 yards, rushing, 1 touchdown. McCaffrey, 135 yards. 1 touchdown. Landry, 139 yards receiving. Anderson, 135 yards, 1 touchdown. Injury report for the Saints: Marcus May, questionable. Paulson Adebo, questionable. Alvin Kamara, questionable. Traquan Smith, questionable. Panthers: Dante Jackson, Brandon Smith, and Bravion Roy, all out. Spread is going to be 3-point favorites for your Saints, -3. -160 on the money line, +3 for Panthers, +135 on the money line, and your over and under is 40.5. 18 points per game, 18.5 for the Saints. Points allowed is 23. Panthers, 20 points per game, 22.5 for the Panthers. I'm going to take the Saints by 3. It's a very close matchup here. I'm going to take the Saints by 3 in this one here. All right. Keeping it going. We're almost wrapped up. Jacksonville and the Chargers got a matchup predictor of 22.4%, 77.3% for your Chargers. Trevor Lawrence, 510 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Herbert, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, 613 yards. Robinson, 130 yards rushing. Eckler, 75 yards rushing. Kirk with 195 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. Everett with 125 yards, 1 touchdown. Jacksonville Jaguars, nobody out as this current stands. Keenan Allen, questionable. Donald Parham questionable. And as far as the spread, Chargers 7-point favorites, minus 335 on the money line, plus 7 for the Jaguars, plus 260 on the money line. Over and under is 47.5. Points per game, 23 for the Jaguars. Points allowed, 14. 24 for your Chargers, 23 allowed for the Chargers. Another one, I'm going to take the 7-point spread for the favorites. Got the Chargers here by a touchdown, and that's inaccurate. I think that's an accurate prediction. I'm going to take the Chargers on that one. All right, next up, it's going to be your Rams versus Arizona. Matchup predictor says 54.1% for the Rams, 45.3% for Arizona. Matt Stafford, 512 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Murray, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Henderson, 94 yards rushing. Williams, 59 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. Receiving yards, 236 receiving yards for Cooper Kupp, 3 touchdowns. Dortch with 118 yards receiving, 1 touchdown. As far as the injury report goes, Kobe Durant, Brian Allen, Van Jefferson, Troy Hill, Tremaine Antrim Jr. all out for the Rams. Cardinals, Andy Isabella, Trayvon Mullen, Rondale Moore, and James Conner all out for the Cardinals. Spread 3.5. Favorites, Rams, minus 190 on money line, plus 3.5 for the Cardinals, plus 158 on the money line, and the over and under is 48.5. Points allowed, points per game, 20 for the Rams. Points allowed is 29 for the Rams. For the Cardinals, 25 points per game, and then the allowed points per game is 35.5. Another close one here. Another close one, but I'm actually going to reverse this. I'm going to take Arizona for the 3.5. I'm going to take Arizona. I think Arizona's going to show up. They had a really good game. They did win an OT in that last game against the Raiders. But I'm going to go ahead and take Arizona in this one. I think they pull it out. I think they're going to show a spark in the offense as well as their defense. And yeah, I'm going to take the Arizona for 3.5. All right. Next up is going to be your Falcons and Seahawks. Matchup predictor, 51.1% for the Falcons, 48.3% for the Seahawks. Mariota, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 411 yards passing. Geno Smith, 392 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Patterson, 161 yards, 1 touchdown. Penny, 75 yards rushing. Receiving yards, London, 160 yards, 1 touchdown. Tyler Lockett, 135 yards. Injury report, you got Damian Williams out for the Falcons. Seattle Seahawks, Damian Lewis, Shelby Harris, Artie Burns, Joey Blount, and Justin Coleman, all questionable. As far as the spread, -2 favorites, Seattle Seahawks, -125 on the money line, plus 105 on the money line for the Falcons. Over and under is 42. Points per game, 26.5 for the Falcons, 29 allowed by the Falcons. 12 points per game for the Seahawks, 21 allowed for the Seahawks. So, this is another close game. 2-point favorites for Seattle. I'm going to go the opposite of this. I think Atlanta's going to bounce back, get them one win under their belt. I'm going to go with the spread on this for the Falcons, +2. Falcons are going to take this one. All right, guys, a few more to go. Just a few more to go. We've got Green Bay and Tampa Bay, and another big one that I am excited for. I'm excited for this game. Green Bay, Tampa Bay. 38% matchup predictor for the Green Bay Packers. 61% for Tampa Bay. Aaron Rodgers, 429 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tom Brady, 402 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Rushing yards, Jones, 181 yards, 1 touchdown. Fournette, 45 carries, 192 yards. Receiving yards, Sammy Watkins, 111 yards. He's having a great year. Mike Evans, 132 yards, 1 touchdown. Injury report, David Bakhtiari is questionable for the Packers. Donovan Smith, questionable. Giovanni Bernard, IR. Josh Wells, IR. Mike Evans is suspended. The appeal did not go through. He is suspended for this game, and that's going to be a big factor. That's going to be a big factor for this Tampa Bay team. And we're going to talk about that in a second once we get through this. But Akeem Hicks is out as well. Your spread is 1 point. 1 point on the spread. That's how you know. It's anybody's game in this one. Money line is minus 120 for Tampa Bay. Plus 100 on the money line. Over and under is 42. Points allowed per game is 17 for the Green Bay Packers. 19.5 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 16.5 for Green Bay. Points allowed. And 6.5 for the Buccaneers. All right. I feel like Green Bay is going to take this. 3 reasons. You got a frustrated Tom Brady, considering what happened in the Saints game. Aaron Rodgers is getting his mojo back, especially after that Bears game. Mike Evans is out. And Mike Evans is Tom Brady's top target right now. There's no Gronkowski. Brait is okay, but he's no Gronk. Running game is Green Bay is going to run. They're going to get through that defense. I think Rodgers is building that chemistry with these rookies. He's getting these guys together. I'm going to take Green Bay in this. As much as I hate to say it, as much as I don't like betting against Tom Brady, at home, I got Green Bay in this one. I'm taking Green Bay for the upset. All right, so Denver and San Francisco, 47.4%. San Francisco in the matchup predictor, 52% for Denver. Trey Lance, 194 yards, 1 touchdown. Wilson, 559 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Wilson Jr., 106 yards. Williams, 118 yards rushing. Receiving, Ayuk with 103 yards. Sutton, 194 yards. Injury report, you got Trey Lance out. Tyrion Davis, Price, Tyler Croft, Daniel Brunskill, George Kittle, all out for the 49ers. Pat Surtain, second. KJ Hamler, Josie Jewell, Quinn Mernez, Billy Turner, all questionable and out for the Broncos. Minus 1.5 favorites for the 49ers. Minus 125 on the money line. Over and under is 45. Points per game is 18.5 for the 49ers. 13 allowed. 16 for Denver. 13 allowed for Denver for the Broncos. I'm gonna take Jimmy G. Jimmy G's coming out. He's gonna ball. He's looking to make a statement like, "Hey, you guys should have never either let me go or put me on the bench. You never should have did it. I'm here. I'm back now. I need a new contract." Jimmy G is gonna show out in this one. I'm gonna go ahead and take San Francisco 49ers on the spread there. They're gonna win the game. All right. My goodness. Last but not least, ending your NFL Week 3. It's going to be your Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, 44.8% for the Cowboys, 54.9% for the Giants. Cooper Rush, showing up for Dallas. 299 yards, 1 touchdown. Daniel Jones, 365 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Ezekiel Elliott, 105 yards rushing. Saquon Barkley, 236 yards, 1 touchdown. Brown, 159 yards, 1 touchdown. James, 110 yards. Injury report, Dak Prescott is out. Jaron Kearse, Connor McGovern, Dalton Schultz, Michael Gallup, questionable. Giants, Aaron Robinson, Kayvon Thibodeau, Kadarius Toney, Leonard Williams, and Wan'Dale Robinson, all questionable or out. Giants are 1-point favorites, minus 115 on the money line. Over and under is 39. Minus 105 for the money line for the Cowboys. Cowboys points per game, 11.5 on the average. 18 allowed, 20 for the Giants, 18 allowed. Once again, another close game. I see Cowboys taking this. I think Cooper Rush is, he's going to show that he's trying to prove that it should be him instead of Dak. I think Ezekiel Elliott's going to, run through that Giants defense. Same thing for Saquon, though. Don't sleep on Saquon. He's going to get those yards. But I think that the defense for the Cowboys are going to step up. They're going to put Daniel Jones under pressure. And Cowboys are going to take this one. I'm going to go ahead and take the spread with this one. for the Cowboys, +1 on the spread. Money line is -105. All right, guys, that is your week 3. Let me know in the comments what your predictions are for each one of these games and your favorite team. What are they going to do? Let me know if you think I'm wrong. I think I'm pretty solid in my predictions. With that said, make sure you guys smash that like, smash that thumbs up button, and of course subscribe for more. I will be streaming 5 games total in this week 3. The first one is going to be Thursday Night Football. I'm going to be streaming that tomorrow. That's going to be your Cleveland Browns and of course the Steelers. I'm going to be streaming that. I'm also going to be streaming the Bills and the Dolphins. That's 1 o'clock on Sunday. Bills Mafia, we here. Definitely going to be streaming that. Also going to be streaming Green Bay and Tampa Bay. Big one. Looking forward to streaming that. I'm also going to be streaming the San Francisco 49ers and Denver. That's going to be your late game. I will be streaming that. And then, of course, Monday Night Football, Dallas and New York Giants. I'll be streaming that as well. So make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure that you lock it in. I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks a lot for being here. Peace.